What's good, Yon Dons? Welcome to episode 18 of the YON Show! Listen, I just got out of the gym. I worked from 8 to 5 today. Today has been a long day, as every other day is. So I want you to know that I am a very busy man, okay? And I know that I promise every other day, but there's some days where I just can't do it. So I apologize in advance. I'm gonna work my butt off to make it happen, okay? It is 9:50 something, and I gotta be out here recording. So the grind never stops. So just bear with me, be patient with me, know that I love you, and I'm working my butt off. I'm making notes, I'm planning throughout the day of what I'm gonna talk about next. So just bear with me, pray for me, give me energy, give me strength, because you guys fuel me just as much as I fuel you. So what we're gonna talk about today is communication and affirmation. First, what I want to start off with is what communication means. And so in a relationship, in a friendship, in all manners and fashions, communication is probably, there's a few things that I would say are foundationally what you need in a relationship. But I would say communication is one of those great things. I think that it's trust, communication, affirmation, and I guess security is a good one too. I think what women, I was gonna save this for a video, but I think what women want is security, communication, and trust. I think that those are the biggest things that they look for in a man. And I think when it comes to a man, what they're looking for is affirmation and communication. And I don't think it's more, I think it's honestly the same thing, but it's in different manners. But I'm gonna save that for another video. I'll save that for another video. But for relationships, communication is more than just texting every second of the day. It's more than just good morning text and good night text. We talked about this in a video prior. I think it was in the second video of the Love Doctor. We had talked about it, basically saying how when you build something up, how to start a relationship. When you first start something, you have to know that you're going to have to continue that thing in the relationship, and you're going to have to also have that thing be like one of the foundational bricks in your relationship. So the good morning and good night text, yada yada, all that kind of stuff is stuff that you are going to need for the rest of the relationship. And so when it comes to communication, how you communicate with one another is very important, because like I said, that is going to be the foundation of how you guys communicate moving forward. And so if she's used to you not showing as much affection whenever you talk, if you change that up one day, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But obviously, if you're not talking enough, talking a little bit more, or talking with more feeling and more passion is going to be more desirable. And so if you talk a lot and all of a sudden you stop talking as much, that'll make insecurity happen, and they're kind of worried about the way you speak to one another. Like, hey, you're not talking as much, or hey, you're not sending good morning texts as much, or hey, you're not showing as much affirmation or as much communication as you used to. Like, communication is important. So I feel like when it comes to, let's say, an argument, how it happens is one thing. Like how the action happens, or how the act happens as far as in an argument, is one thing. But how you react is another thing. And I think how you react to things is more important than how it even starts, in my opinion, because that shows true character. And so let's say you get into an argument. When it comes to the communication aspect, it's not listening. It's not hearing the other person out and waiting for your turn to speak. It's listening to what they're saying. It's not just hearing their words. It's digesting and listening to what they're saying, and not looking for, how do I rebuttal? How do I communicate that back? How do I respond back to that? It's, let me process this first. Let me show them that I understand what they're saying. So whenever I get into an argument with somebody, or whenever there's a dispute, I want them to know that I'm listening, right? And so let's say they are talking about, I don't know how you feel, basically, and it makes me feel insecure, right? And so if I am ever in that situation, first thing I want to say is, okay, I understand, or okay, I understand how you feel, or thank you for telling me that. Thank you for helping me understand how you feel. Because the first thing that you want to do when it comes to communicating with somebody is if they're communicating their feelings, you have to make sure and affirm that their feelings are being heard and their voice is being heard. When it comes to communication, you have to make sure that what they're communicating is not only what they need to let off their chest, but also what you need to hear and listen to whenever they're pouring out their feelings and their heart to you. So whenever you're able to understand what they're saying, that's when you're ready to communicate back to them. Because when it comes to communicating out of anger or out of spite or out of animosity, when you speak out of words of hatred or words of wrath, that's when I would say that's when the foundation starts to break. Because you're not speaking as your own self, you're speaking out of anger, you're speaking out of your emotions, you're speaking out of your hatred in the moment. So when it comes to communication, you always want to make sure that you're level-headed. And so whenever you're talking to somebody, if there is an argument or if there ever is just a regular conversation, you want to make sure that you're okay first going into it. In the sense of like, if you're about to argue with somebody and you had a bad day at work, that argument is going to go crazy. It's going to go even worse because you're going to say something along the lines of, first work was bad, now I got to hear your big mouth. And you say something like that, let the man or the woman be this color right here. It's a problem. It's a problem. You don't say that kind of stuff. So whenever you're communicating with somebody, you have to make sure, like, if you're in the bad mood already or if tension is in the air, hey, we need to talk later on, or hey, I need to take a break right now, or hey, we can talk about this later. But you need to make sure that you're at a calm level ahead so that way you can process what they're saying. If you're already angry, you're not caring about what they have to say. If you're like me, like, we come from a family of, like, we're some pretty angry people. So when it comes to, like, processing stuff whenever we're already mad, we don't want to hear what they have to say. Like, that door is shut. And at that point, we're yelling out the window. So when it comes to talking, you have to make sure that you guys are at a calm manner, right? Know that when it comes to communication, that it's not a talent, it is a skill. I've been blessed with the opportunity to be able to have something like started as far as with communication. And I think that the reason why I'm able to be like a communicator is because I never depended on my looks. I never depended on a single talent. I never depended on any other skills. Like, I had no other gifts. And so I built up the skill to communicate with others, to talk to other people, to take the time to listen to other people so that way I can learn about other people and other reactions and other actions. So I know now how people react whenever they get mad. I know how this certain person acts this certain way, or I've heard or seen this certain pattern, so I know how they're going to react because this person previously has acted the same way. So judging by the way they're speaking right now, they're going to do this, this, and that. Or judging by the way they're acting right now, they're going to say this, this, and that. So, like, for example, if a girl was to cancel on me, right? Actually, okay, well, I'm not even going to go there. But so let's say, like, there's a girl that cancels on you, right? Let's say that it was a date. You guys have never talked before, and you've seen each other on Instagram or something, and you guys are going to have a date. And she cancels on you, or he cancels on you last minute. First thing that's going to pop up, she doesn't text you the whole day. Let's say she doesn't even text you. You guys are supposed to meet up somewhere, and you don't text her, she doesn't text you because it wasn't firm. And so the next day, she texts you, hey, I'm sorry, she gives you some BS answer, I was busy, or I was with family, I wasn't able to text you, yada, yada, yada. Knowing good and well she was liking posts, and knowing good and well she was retweeting stuff. But anyways, let's say that happened. First thing I would do is say, it's 100% okay, I understand you were busy. You know, if this doesn't work out for this night, or if this doesn't work out for next week or something like that, I understand completely. I just want to be respectful of your time. So the first thing that's doing is affirming that you hear what she has to say. It affirms that you're understanding that she was busy one night, but that doesn't mean, just because one night didn't work out, doesn't mean that there's room for another. So what you do is you make sure that you communicate with her that you understand her feelings. And then once you do that, then you're able to affirm her and communicate that there's another time for it. You know, not every time is perfect. Or maybe we're rushing. Let's get to know each other first. Let's talk on the phone. Or let's find somewhere else to hang out. Or if you love the gym, let's work out together. If you love a particular place, we can find that particular place so you're more desiring to hang out with me. Or you actually want to hang out because this is your favorite spot. So let's say like you say something along the lines of, I understand 100%, it's 100% okay with me. I want to be respectful of your time. So let me know what's a better place that you would love to eat at. Ooh, if you say something like that, she'll be like, oh wow, not only is he forgiving, but he's also accepting to what I want. So now you got her in the sense of, okay, now that he wants to speak to me, now that he wants to find somewhere else or find somewhere that I want, now I want to go. You're giving her substance. Because let's say your first interaction is the fact that, like, keeping a tally of it. First interaction was the fact that she bailed on you. So now the ball is in your court. So you're able to say either you want to be mad at her and then she has to make up for lost time, or two, you are forgiving, and so that way she is basically not crawling back to you, but now wants to be around you because you're a nice person. So you have to understand that, like, there's levels to how you communicate, and there's levels to how you affirm somebody based on the situation. So that situation isn't more or less in a forgiving manner. Another thing when it comes to communication, this isn't even just for relationships and friendships. This is also for anything in life. When it comes to communicating, be direct and be straightforward. Your intentions need to be pure. Regardless of if they actually are or not, your intentions need to be pure in the sense of direction. So when you're talking to somebody, like not in talking phase, but like when you're discussing or conversating with somebody, it is important to know your intentions before you speak it to them, one. And second to that, you need to be able to be direct with them whenever it comes down to what are we. When you get that text of what are we, or whenever you're in that conversation of what do you see in us, or where do you see this going, like you need to know in yourself first what you want, and then you need to be able to communicate that. If you want to be just friends, be just friends. If you want a relationship, get a relationship. If you want to just have FWB, have an FWB. If you want to just have, I'm not going to say that. If you want to just have a buddy to hang out with or Netflix and chill, just say that. So you need to be able to be direct with your communication and be direct with where you guys stand. Because you never want to waste somebody's time. Because that hole that you're in, you're feeling, somebody better could do that, or the best person could do that. And if that doesn't need to be you, or if you got them in the wrong season, then you need to be out of their life so that way the better person can fill that shoe. I feel like everybody has a king and a queen that they deserve. And so at the end of the day, if you're direct with their answer, or you're direct with what you want, you're either going to be the person to fill that shoe or the person to walk out of their life and walk into the better situation and the situation that's meant for you. So another thing with communication is being vulnerable with the other person. And so that's why like self-care is so important. When it comes to understanding yourself, addressing your problems, addressing your emotions, your past traumas, your mistakes that were now lessons. When you're understanding of that stuff, that's when you're able to communicate so much better. So when it comes to first understanding yourself, when you understand yourself, you're able to communicate your emotions better. So connect with yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. And when you're able to be that person for yourself, then you're able to communicate that to somebody else. So when you're having a bad day, then you're able to express that, hey, I'm having a bad day because of work. Or if you have a depressive background, you say, hey, you know, I have these episodes where I'm sad and I don't feel as good as I should, or I'm not feeling 100% today. And so in that regard, if I ever upset you, or if I feel like I'm under the weather, or if you feel like I'm not talking the way I normally do, it's because I'm not feeling the best right now. And I just need you to be there as a comforter, or I just need you here. I just need your presence. I just need you to support what I'm going through right now. So whenever you're able to connect with yourself, then you're able to express that in the right manner, rather than it being like, hey, what's wrong? You seem like you've been under the weather. Oh, I don't know. That pisses me off. When a girl, not even just a girl, when anybody says, oh, I don't know, that makes me so mad. Because what don't you know? What don't you know about yourself? What's wrong with you? If you don't know what's wrong with you, you have a problem, obviously. So talk about it. If you can't talk about what's wrong with you to yourself, that's a problem in itself. So you need to be able to know what's going on in you before you have somebody in your life that you have to communicate that with. That is a problem. Whenever you're sitting here and you're upset or you're down in the dirt and you don't know what's going on with you, but you expect to have God send you another person so that way you can make their life miserable and your life is already miserable as is, you need to get your butt up off the ground and shake yourself off, and that way you have somebody else to knock the dust off with you. If you don't know what's wrong with you and you expect God to have somebody there so that way you can waste their time, that is a no. Before you even have somebody in your life, be able to have the skill to communicate with yourself. Hey, I'm sad because Johnny from 3 years ago broke my heart and I'm still not healed from it. So now you got Steve over here. He doesn't know what's going on and you got to communicate with him. Hey, Johnny from back in the day broke my heart. And so Steve, you got to worry about that. Now Steve's prepared to deal with your BS because you didn't deal with it 3 years ago. But at least he knows whether if he wants to hit the door or stay with you. That's the whole point of communicating your problems or communicating how you feel, whether it was from back in the day, whether it's from now, whether it's future problems, whether it's past problems. You're able to communicate the way you feel because you're emotionally connected with yourself. But don't put somebody in that situation of, I don't know what's wrong with me, but hey, I want you to stick around. Hey, is it okay if I waste your time so that way I feel better? That's basically what you're saying. Or, hey, I don't know how I'm feeling, but I expect you to be here and make me feel better. Well, how do I make you feel better? I don't know. What? That's dumb. So be emotionally connected with yourself before you put somebody else in that shoe or in that spot to make you feel better when you don't know how to make yourself feel better. So when it comes to affirmation, it's affirming someone. It's making them feel understood. It's making them feel heard. So when it comes to communication, there's also affirmation. That's when you say the things along the lines of, I understand how you feel, or thank you for communicating that with me. Or if they're sad one day, you're able to say, hey, how can I make you feel better? Or what can I do to fix this? What can I do to make you feel better? What can I do to solve your problems? Or if not solve your problems, say, what can I do to make your problems a little bit better? It's not about making their weight put on your shoulders. It's about telling them, I'm here to support you during this walk. It's about telling them words of advice or words of affirmation. It's about making them feel like they're not alone. Making sure that they feel as if they're not alone whenever they're feeling lonely. Making sure that they know that they have a partner rather than somebody that just sits on the sidelines while they play. It's about making sure that that person knows that you are there for them and not against them. So that's when you need to affirm them whenever they're going through something. Affirmation is about supporting that person, not just building them up, but also building next to them. It's not about walking life with them. It's about walking life together. It's about making sure that that person knows that you are not only just there to be with them, but to also support them and bring them up and be a better person together. So affirmation is something that they need. Affirmation is key in order to understand that. Whenever you affirm someone, it's building them up and it's making them a better person. So during this time, I don't know what's going on, but in 2021, I feel like a lot of people are going through this season of loneliness, and they're finally getting to a place where self-care is a priority now, which I love. But when it comes to affirming somebody, it's a support group. It's a support person. It's somebody that's there to help. You're not, like I said in past episodes, it's not about being 50-50. It's about being 100%. And all affirmation will do is whenever they're feeling 75, you're able to help them get to that 100 again. You're not throwing out your 25 to give to them whenever they're 75 because that's going to leave you 75. It's about helping them get to that point. It's about saying, hey, I know that you're feeling like you're not feeling like yourself. How can I help you feel as if you're back to normal? How do I make you feel like, hey, you're losing 50%, you're 50% right now. How do I make you feel 50 again? How do I help you feel 25 again? How do I share my happiness with you? Or how do I make you feel like you again? that concludes episode 18 of the YON Show, Communication and Affirmation. Make sure that you are direct with your intentions. Make sure that you are vulnerable and understanding. And make sure that your partner knows that your intentions are pure. Make sure that you are able to communicate everything and know that communication is a skill and not a talent. It is something that is built up, not born into. So, I love each and every one of you, Yon Dons. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on post notifications so you know every single time I post. And let everybody know what we're doing here at the Yon Show. Peace!